Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money in the Law on My FM 101.3 with your hosts, Jay Marsden and John Drohan. Jay Marsden, he represents the Marsden Law Group, and I'm John Drohan, and I represent Main Effort Financial. We both represent your favorite Saturday morning show, and also, aired, on some kind of network syndication with Holliston Cable Access
Well,
TV.
we represent your interests, everybody. We represent your interests.
Money and the law. Money, law, and respectively, just for you new listeners out there and new viewers, money is me. As you can see, I'm dressed like someone who has no money, and then there's the law, who is dressed as if he has just walked out of the courtroom.
That's
like
right. Hey,
Johnny Cochran, eat your heart out.
Hey,
right?
How are you? Hey.
So, Jay, how are you?
The glove don't fit. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. So it's Saturday morning, right? For those for your listening live, if you're watching it again on syndicated,
Saturday
on our syndicated, it may be a different day, but it's Saturday morning. This is our it's being broadcast.
This is our slot right here. This is our comfort zone.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, and I have to talk. I'm giving a big plug because today at 12:15 on Saturday.
High noon.
The Holliston girls soccer team is playing in the D2 state championship.
Yeah, I saw that
against Winchester.
Yep.
First time ever that Holliston has ever been in the Division II state championship.
That's big. That's huge.
So that's a big deal. So that's being played at Worcester State today at 12:15. So
you know what's funny? You have experienced this a little bit more than I have because you have kids a little further along than mine are. But a lot of the kids on the team, you know a lot of the kids, right? Because you've been involved in coaching soccer, which I know you were a perennial all-star in the on the soccer coaching world.
I don't know about that. I was that.
What grade? What's your ultimate, like? You have all those certifications you can get. What's your coach grade?
You know what? Thanks for asking that question because I don't have one.
Nice.
And it's a great and you know what? That's kind of a touchy subject because I would always be like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm just here.
I don't need that. I don't need that
stuff, right? But the reason why I felt like I didn't need it is because I have my father-in-law. So my father-in-law, who played professional soccer in England, I'm like, what do I need that for? I got this guy, right?
That's like having Tiger Woods carry your bag, right? That's exactly. Right. So I felt the same exact way. I did not have a father-in-law who played professional soccer, but I felt like, you know what? This is all about the kids. This is all about fun. This is all about, and they give you, and to be fair, like the Holliston Youth Soccer Program, they give you a lot of really good material. If they rope you in, if you have the unfortunate instance of answering the phone when they're calling around looking for coaches and they happen to catch you and you're like, well, and I always get they call up and they say, hey, we're looking for a coach. And I always gave the worst answer possible, which was, look, if you don't find anybody, if you can't get anybody, let me know.
You might as well just said, put me down.
Translation, they hang up the phone, they have sandwich, then they call you right back. Yeah, I made a ton of calls, couldn't get anybody. You're the guy, right? But they have a great program that kind of brings you along as a coach. They give you a lot of practice material. And I will say one year that I got that call, and I sort of was the reluctant entrepreneur to be the coach that year. Somebody who was on the team, one of the kids on the team, their dad, who's a superstar soccer player, let's just say after the first couple of practices, I think he was a little bit disappointed in my practice approach. I'm not sure he liked my preparation.
We could probably do a little more here.
So let's just say that he kind of said, I'm gonna get involved here. I'm gonna sort of step in, and why don't you get out of the way before you hurt yourself? You know what? Why don't you go fill those soccer balls up, Jake?
Why not?
I'll take over here. I'll
take care of practice.
Yep.
Why don't you coordinate for the? Why don't we get the pennies?
Why don't you go get some oranges? Yeah. Why don't you go get some oranges? Cut those up. That's probably right for you. So good for them. Congratulations. Good for them. All the best. We wish them nothing but the best.
We'll see how it goes today. They've had a run.
Yeah.
They have not lost all year.
Yeah,
3 ties, and they've undefeated. So we'll see how it goes. And it's Saturday, so the football team will have played last night on Friday.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So right now, because this is being taped, we don't know.
No, we don't know what happens.
We don't know what happens.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Good luck to everybody. All the best.
Way to go, Holliston. Way to go. You guys rock.
Go Panthers.
Yeah. Milford, on the other hand, they were excused a little earlier from the tournament. We were talking about
careful.
by Medway.
Proceed with caution,
but they're all we're all here. We're all in this together.
It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. All right. So, as I was saying, I'm very casual today. For those of you seeing on TV, I'm casual today. Jay, on the other hand, is not casual, but that's okay because we're going to talk about some things that you don't necessarily have to dress up for. You don't necessarily have to get
very informal.
You don't have to. Yeah,
No
you
dress
don't have
code.
to.
No dress
you don't
code.
have to get serious or like get all like anxiety.
Yeah, we used to have a
about
dress
it.
code for the show, but not
Yeah,
anymore.
no. So now, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about kind of this, where are we? Seems like we're always at year end. We're always at some sort of end.
Our favorite show.
So here we are approaching year end again. We're about to enter the holiday season. Thanksgiving is a week later this year, so a week later than it was last year. So we're losing that one more weekend. But as we get to that last run, that last month in the year, this is the time when there's some things that people need to do.
There's a couple things that you absolutely need to do. Yes, you do.
And we've reviewed these, several years, and I don't think it's a bad thing to review again for everybody to kind of pick up some of the tidbits of the information that we give out at this time of the year, because it's never something that you don't want to be reminded of.
No.
So,
no. And by the way, some of these things that we talk about, you can't really unring that bell, right? This has been part of our annual tradition, like the Macy's Day Parade, this parade of advice and guidance that we tend to trot out at this time of the year. You see how I wrapped a whole bunch of imagery in there?
Yeah.
Macy's Day Parade.
I'm getting ready to watch it on
trotting
TV.
out, see all that? Right. So this is really where, take heart, take notes, but there's some things to do. There's some things to do this time of the year. It's not just it's not just the fall cleanup on the yard. It's also the fall legal and financial cleanup.
Yeah. And so the important thing to think is that right now, because we're doing it this weekend, because we're doing it on the 23rd, we're starting this on the 23rd of November, it's giving you a little bit of time. It's giving you a little bit of reaction time to be able to do some things where you have that 31 December deadline to make some decisions and potentially get your financial or legal house in order, things that you want to do to get wrapped up by year end. So we're going to talk about we're going to review some of the things that we do. We're going to talk about some potential big donation opportunities that you can have. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's always a big,
us, but
it's always a big tax. Yeah, not to us, but to some great causes. So we're going to talk about that after we take a short break here on My FM 101.3. You're listening and watching Money in the Law with Jay Marsden and John Drohan and Christian Bidet. Sorry, Christian,
behind
right
man in the con.
He's still there. He's still got two cameras. We'll be right back.
Two-camera shoot.
Yeah.
And we're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Both of us can be found in beautiful, scenic downtown Holliston, Massachusetts, right down in the booming metropolis. John and I are about a 5-iron from each other. John, you guys are located where?
770 Washington Street. There's a little store that sells just about everything called Fisk's, and we are directly upstairs from them. In fact, oftentimes we're doing jumping jacks, and when we're doing our physical training up there, we get a little, the broom handle on the ceiling.
Yeah.
So you keep it down, keep it down right. We're doing a lot of.
We're located a little further up the road at 847 Washington Street, global headquarters for Marsden Law and Solaris Hill Advisors. How do people get a hold of you, John, if they're looking for you?
Well, you can always go to the bar. No, I'm sorry. They want to.
That's different. That's different.
Go to the library.
That's right.
So if you want to call us at 508-893-9990. I'm sure that number's popping up on your screen right now.
Right now, across the bottom. Right across the bottom of the screen.
9990 or at maineffort.com.
Nice. 508-858-5324. Get you right into the communications center, the heartbeat of Marsden Law. You call in there, and we'll get you hooked up with.
Yeah, that's like NORAD when you call that number. Yeah, you get in. You're on a secure line. Bells, whistles,
like a big screen. Everything comes up. We know exactly where you are. Big data. We can pinpoint exactly where you are.
Yeah, there'll be a video watching you.
Asking you very awkward, intimate questions about your family that you didn't really know we knew, but that's
not unlike the Matrix. Not unlike the Matrix. Like things will start coming up on your computer screen.
We pay for a lot of that data, so it's fine. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. So end of the year, what are we talking about? What's on your mind? What's the one big thing that this time of the year for those folks that they need to say, look, did we get this done right now?
Right, because
if you're over 70 and a half. If you're over 70 and a half.
If you're over 70 and 1/2. So one of the absolute financial must-dos that you have to do by year end, if you are over the age of 70, and again, there's some leeway if it's your first year where you just turned 70.
Let's not play around.
So let's not mess around with it. So if you are over the age,
if you're 70, do it. Don't wait.
If you're 30, do it.
If you're 70, big year for you, big birthday year for you. You're 70.
So what we are talking about are called required minimum distributions. Or if you're from worked for a small little green mutual fund company based out of Boston, it was required
MRD.
Minimum required distribution.
Which actually does sound better if you think about it.
It does not sound better, and it's not. You know what? There's a lot of things that sound better. That's not one of them.
Seek your MRD. Your RMD, your MRD.
Your required minimum distribution, which means that if you have what is called a qualified account or an IRA or an individual retirement account, a qualified account, meaning that it is pre-tax dollars. So it's pre-tax. You've never paid taxes on this money. And this is where Uncle Sam finally comes around and is going to get his piece of the pie.
He says, Bill, Mary, congratulations. Bill, you're 70 this year.
You look great.
Congratulations. You look $1 million bucks. Great. Fantastic. Good for you. Hey,
the hair transplant took.
That's right. By the way, all that money you've been socking away for all those years? Yeah. Well, guess what? Time to pay the piper.
Better yet, the money you've been socking away all those years, and then you have reduced your taxable income. So I haven't been able to get my VIG off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now's the time where you have to truly, literally pay the piper.
Yep. That's
so.
Right.
What that means is that when you take your required minimum distribution, it means you have to start taking money out of that IRA, whether you need it or not. And guess what?
By the way, we've talked about this before. That's an interesting concept because I have had clients who say, but I don't need the money. What do I do with it? So there's almost this sense of like how am I going to spend $45,000?
And Jay, like the little drool comes out of his mouth, he quickly cleans it up. What should I do? Where should I put this money?
What do I do with my money?
So what happens is you turn 70 and a half in that year, and then that means that's the year you have to start taking money out of your IRA. Now, the amount of money that you take out of your IRA is based on your life expectancy table. So meaning that
not how long you think you're going to live.
No, it's how long. It's what the data shows.
That's right.
So it's based on. So in theory, what that means is that, and a lot of people don't realize this. So that means that based on your life expectancy, all of that money is going to come out of that IRA
on a schedule.
Yep, on a schedule, over the rest of your life expectancy, and which means that in the first year, your 70 and a half year, you don't have to take out that much. There's a formula that'll be. It's usually
ballpark
in and around 3%. In and around 3.
Well, 4.5 is what we say.
3. Well. He likes to get the money out as quick as possible. So usually, we'll say between 3 and 4% is usually the how much comes out. And then, but there are calculators that'll enable you to tell you exactly how much, so you don't have to take too much. But that money needs to be withdrawn and taken out of that IRA. And remember, whenever I take money out of an IRA, what do I have to do?
You're going to pay taxes.
You have to pay your taxes.
Well, let me say this: you cannot pay taxes, but eventually you'll have to pay taxes. And by that, what I mean is, you will be asked when you take that money out, do you want taxes withheld from the distribution? Do you think that's a good idea?
I love that idea.
So do I.
Yeah,
so do I.
Why would you love having some money withheld? Why would you love that? Because later on, would you rather have no tax bill?
That's
right.
When
you go to file your taxes and say, oh, you're going to get a $1,000 return, or would you rather have them say, oh, you have a $10,000 bill due for your taxes?
That's right. And that's basically what you're doing. The investment company will say to you, do you want to have you with taxes held? Do you have a generic number that you might say to somebody, hey, without dialing into exactly what your tax distribution rate might be, because most people don't know, right?
Right.
What do you tell people? Ballpark.
Well, we sorted out, again, depending upon their income, it'll be anywhere between 20 and 30% will be your federal withholding, and then your state withholding is 5.15%. So that's usually pretty standard across the board. So usually it's going to be, for us, it's going to be either 25% or 30%, again, depending upon because we'll know what our client's income is. So we'll have a very good idea of kind of what their tax bracket is.
And again, what you're just prepaying the taxes, so next year when you get all your paperwork from the feds, you've already paid that tax, and it's not something that you're going to get hit with more, because most people love not paying taxes. They hate getting a bill on April 15th and say, oh, by the way, you got to pay whatever you got to pay. So especially if it's your first time doing it, be prepared.
Yeah. So this is an interesting concept, the idea of the MRD/RMD concept, because really it's something that you shouldn't be, if you're just kind of figuring this out now, we're doing like we're throwing out the life raft to you right now, because if you're figuring this out right now, then you haven't planned for this and you haven't thought about it and you haven't discussed it, because if you're managing your own stuff, then you probably, maybe you haven't been made aware of it, or your holding company hasn't made you aware of it. But if you're working with somebody, they should have told you, hey, guess what? This is your year. This is your required minimum distribution year. So let's make a plan on how we're going to take this money out, right?
Now, by the way, some firms, if you don't take the money, some firms just send it to you. Right, like some firms, because why do they do that? What happens if you don't take it?
So there's a penalty, right? So there's a tax penalty. Yeah, there's a tax penalty, and it's significant. So the penalty is, let's say that your required minimum distribution, you gave the example of $10,000. Would you have? No, you have like $40,000.
We'll call it 50. Call it 50 grand. $1 million IRA.
All right, so you're required to take out $50,000 from your, that's a good chunk of change, right?
Yes.
You're required to take that out. If you don't take that out at the right time, if you don't take that out, in accordance with your RMD schedule, then you're going to get assessed a 50% penalty of what you were supposed to take out.
Ouch.
So that is 25 big ones,
right off the top,
G's
right
that you are going to be required to pay, along with, oh, by the way, so then when you do end up taking it and realizing this, then you're going to have to take your $50,000 anyway, and you're going to have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
But you've already paid. You're going to get hit with a $25,000 tax.
It's going to leave a mark. It's going to leave a mark.
So and just so you know, that tax bill, that's not coming out of your IRA. That's going to show up on your 1099. Yeah. That's going to show up when Uncle Sam's going to say, oh, or you may get a tax letter and it's going to say, guess what? You owe $25,000 and here's why. And you may say, oh, I don't have $25,000 to pay that tax. Where am I going to get the money?
Oh, back to the IRA.
You go back to your IRA, and guess what? If I need to take out $25,000 to pay it, then I got to pay taxes on that. So I may have to take out more money to net my. So it turns into a giant kerfuffle. So
nice. That's a good word. I use a different word.
Yeah, I use a word that the FCC approved, which is
has a C and an F in it, but that's different. That's fine. That's different.
Stop it right there.
I'm just saying.
So the bottom line is, it's important that you take your required minimum distribution. This is without a doubt. Now, as I was saying before, there are ways you can do it, right? There's ways that I can take. Many people will wait until like kind of the end of the year, because if this is money that they don't need and they have their income, they're getting everything's fine. Everything, like the machine's chugging along, the train is heading down the tracks. I don't need any additional income, but this year's my required minimum distribution year.
Don't wait.
So I'm gonna take it in one lump sum.
Right.
So that's my point. My point is I can take it in one lump sum, or if you're planning and if you know like, hey, so now this is, let's say I'm entering my year. Let's say that in 2020 I'm turning 70 and a half. So I'm like, okay, so next year I know I'm going to have to pay my required minimum distribution. I know what the number is going to be, because it's based on the close of the last year. So the last day, the December 31st value.
Previous year-end value. Yeah. That's what the distribution is.
So I know what my distribution is going to be for 2020. Instead of waiting till the end and getting one lump sum, I could say, hey, look, you know what? Why don't I just, if I know I'm going to take, let's say I'm fortunate enough, I have a $50,000 required minimum distribution. Why don't I spread that out over 12 months and use it as part of my income?
Yeah.
Right. So I'll take it. So I take it. It goes over 12 months. Part of I'll get a monthly direct deposit into my bank account, and there you go. Now it's part of my income. As Jay said before, we have our taxes withheld, so there's no big deal.
Yeah, a lot of people love that. They love the idea that basically is an income replacement strategy, right? Where I now have this minimum required distribution. They're going to make me take
it anyway.
I'll take it from a cash flow perspective. It makes sense for me to take $4,000 a month. I love it. I take my taxes out of my $4,000. Maybe I net $3,000. Maybe I net $2,800. Whatever it is, that plus your Social Security. And a lot of people would say, hey, that's that kind of squares me up a-okay. You know,
but what is that? But also, let's think about it. So maybe, let's say you're a guy like Jay, and you're a big real estate investor, right? So let's say when you come to retire, you've sold all your real estate property, and now you have all this cash. You have this money that's in a brokerage account that's generating income. But you don't have to take that money, right? Because that's not an IRA. Let's say you've been using that as part to augment your income, but now you hit 70 and a half, and you're like, well, congratulations, 70 and a half. I have to take money out of my IRA. So that IRA money can now replace money that I'm taking from something that I don't have to take it from, something that's not a requirement for me to take. So it can replace that and allow me to preserve that money for another day, for a rainy day.
You can leave that, you can leave that and use that money to fight another day. You can then turn around and say, hey, you know what? Between the IRA distribution I have to take and my Social Security, you're right, this taxable money is found money. But you know what? I don't mind. I like getting some of it. So I'll turn on the income from that account. I won't touch the principal, and whatever that kicks off a couple grand a year. Then it kicks off a couple grand a year, and that gets the job done.
And everything is great,
as they say in the movies. Old Jed's a millionaire, right? All the way.
Right.
Yeah.
They say that in pretty much every movie that you've ever
all
seen.
The time.
You don't really
yes.
get it. Yeah. So
some of the older movies.
So as you get older, right? So once you hit 7 and a half, every year you're going to have your percentage to take out the money. To take out will go up a little bit more because your life expectancy, unfortunately, as you get older, is decreasing.
It does tend to do that. Yep.
So as you're doing this, so the important thing to remember is two things. One is don't forget to take it. Don't forget to take it.
Right.
So once you're, especially, and usually the first year is kind of like, that's the, whoa, did I turn 70 or am I 70 and a half, right? So if my birthday's in September, right? If I turn 70 in September, I don't have to take the required minimum distribution for that year because I'm not 70 and a half. I'm just 70, right? And I'm not 70 and a half. Most people don't count. I mean, most kids know their half birthday.
Well, I know, but you can go to the year after the year you turn 70. There's all kinds of, people try to kind of thread that needle a little too much. Just take it. 70 years old, just take it. Just take the distribution.
Jay's December 31st. You're 7 years old, you take it. Well, yes and no. Yeah, I mean, I will respectfully disagree. I mean, so he's absolutely right, because what happens is you want to be on a schedule. You want to, because once you start taking your required minimum distribution or minimum required distribution,
there's no turning back.
You have to. It's best to be on a schedule.
Yeah.
So if you decide we're going to take it every year on November 30th, every year or on December 15th, or
take it on your birthday.
Yep, or you can take it on your.
That's when I like it. Take it on your birthday.
Is that when you're going to do it?
That's when we tell all our clients, take them on your birthday. Why? A, it's your birthday. Hey, it's your birthday. It's your birthday, right? And what do you like on your birthday? You like getting stuff, right?
Money.
So if someone's going to give you
Everybody
money.
likes
right?
money on their birthday.
It always fits.
Yep.
It always matches your outfit, right? Nobody ever returns it.
That's right.
So you're going to get money. So happy birthday. Oh my God, look, I just got a check in the mail for X amount of dollars. Or something just hit my brokerage account. Or something got turned into my bank account. Let's go out to dinner and celebrate my birthday. Take it on your birthday. Now, if your birthday is December 31st, we're going to have to change the schedule a little bit. Take it on your anniversary. Take it on your anniversary, or your wife's birthday, or something like that.
Take it early on your birthday.
That's right.
So the bottom line is the money's got to be. It's got to be out of that account in your possession before December 31st. If you're in your required minimum distribution.
Now we talk about this on the show all the time. Do not come down here to the radio station December 31st and say, I have a question for you. Does it have to be out of the account by the 31st, or do I just have to have my paperwork into the brokerage company to tell them that I want the money?
Stamp on the envelope.
Is it in the mailbox? Because does Gus, the mailman, if he signs like a piece of paper that says that I gave him the form,
he gave it to me,
that I'm all set, right? Because this used to happen all the time when I worked at that small firm. The end of the year was crazy in the local offices that I used to work in. Tax time was insane, and it was literally like trying to get Springsteen tickets. You'd be standing at the counter at tax time, and people would come in and just hand you a piece of paper and say, "Am I all set? Am I all set? Am I all set?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
"Where are my seats?
What do we all? What do you mean? Are we all set?" And then inevitably, what would happen is that person would come back into the office later, a week or 10 days from now, and say, "My IRA contribution didn't get made in time, or my IRA withdrawal didn't get made in time." And the guy at the counter, the person at the counter, told me I was all set. Right?
Yeah.
Don't play the all set game. Get all set in November, not December, not Christmas time. Everyone's busy. Do it now.
No one's paying attention. All right, so do it. All right, so required minimum distribution. We're going to come back. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. And we're going to talk about the other thing that you have to do before December 31st. You absolutely have to do it before December 31st if you are so inclined to do that.
I think I see where we're going.
Inclined to do that.
Where we're going.
You're listening and watching Money in the Law. Money and the Law with Jay Marsden, Jay New Blazer Marsden, and John Wellfleet Hoodie Drohan, and Christian Bidet.
John
Hollison
was the
Cable
cow
Access
warm
TV.
last night.
Yeah.
You slept in it. Drohan.
That's not true. We will be right back.
And we're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group.
Now you say it again. Say it one more time. One more time. Yeah.
John Drohan,
for the record.
Also here, by the way.
Yeah, you're right.
My bad. With Main Effort Financial.
Could you please repeat so the recorder can hear you? Yeah, you heard me.
Don't make me say. Don't make me repeat myself.
Don't make me say it again.
Don't make me say my name twice. So we are talking year-end planning like we do all year, and just wanted to follow up and let you know exactly what you need to do this year. It's very similar to what we told you to do in July.
Do it.
Also,
just
August,
do it.
And then our fall.
Do what we say.
End of the quarter, fall, year-end wrap up. So yeah, here we are. We just talked about your minimum required distributions, RMDs. Got to get those done by December 31st, not January 1st, not January 2nd. Doesn't have to be in the mail by a certain date. It has to be in your bank account. Don't wait.
You know what we need to do is we need to come up with our own terminology for required minimum distribution. Next time,
we're try to make it a thing.
We'll have
our.
It's going to be. Yep, we're going to make it stick. Yeah,
all right, we'll work
a distribution at the least amount of time to requirement for all people.
All right,
yeah,
something
like that.
All right, giddy up.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is something that you have to do before December 31st, if you are so inclined. And what's the word that comes before inclined? What am I saying?
Charitably
inclined.
Are you charitably inclined?
Exactly.
Are you a good person? That's what we're saying.
Do you care?
If you're not, if you don't care, that's fine. If you don't care, that's fine. That's fine.
Do you care?
If you've tossed in the towel, that's fine.
Yeah, if you care about people less fortunate than you, then great. Then jump on board. Then we're with you.
Yep.
If you don't, if you're the other guy.
Yep. Then my hat goes off to you.
Right.
Good for you.
Right. If you're the guy who cares about people,
wear it proud.
Yeah, and there, or you're the other guy.
That's right.
So we're talking about charitable donations, right? Donations to charities, to nonprofits, things that are great and heartwarming and are things that help people less fortunate, or animals that are less fortunate, and whatever your cause
anything
is.
you see on TV between now and the end of the year.
Whatever your cause is that you're donating to, you are giving to that organization, and you're giving to an organization or foundation that does great things, that does good things.
Well, now, that does things that match up with your value system, right?
Exactly.
People give to charities that are near and dear to their heart.
That's right. And because of the great country that you live in, guess what you get to do? For the most part, again, depending upon your tax situation, but for most people's situations, you get to deduct what you contributed to a charity or to a nonprofit, as long as they were a registered charity and a real charity, not some kind of make-believe nonprofit.
That's right. 501c3 Charity Navigator will tell you exactly who you are supposed to figure out if they're legit. That's
and you get to deduct those. You get to deduct that contribution from your income, and you take a tax deduction.
And your tax person will say, "Do you have a receipt? Do you have this?" So you'll have to play the tax game, and you'll have to prove that you made it, obviously. But yes.
So the deadline in order to apply that deduction to this year, to this tax year, it has to be in before December 31st.
But wait, that brings up a whole nother series of questions.
What's your question?
Does the check have to be mailed by then?
Right.
Does the check have to be cashed by then? Does it have to be? Can I give it to the mailman?
Excuse me, I'm in the weeds.
With my minimum required distribution paperwork, and have him sign 2 pieces of paper?
So for all of you loyal fans of Money in the Law, I've been listening to us talk about this pretty much all year long, pretty much every year, all year long. Don't mess around with that. Get your check in.
Do it.
Get your check in, because the best way to prove that you did it is to have your canceled check or your statement that says, "Oh, look, here on November 15th, my check went to the American Heart Association, and therefore I contributed. They took the money. The deal is done, right?
Yep.
We're all set."
Yep.
So good.
I was going to say, now, what if you don't know who you want to give your money to?
Well, we dedicated a whole show to this not too long ago. But a charitable donor fund, right?
Yes,
Is that
a donor advised fund?
Donor advised fund, right? Yeah. So your donor advised fund is a way where you can start a fund. You can say, look, I want to be charitably inclined, but I'm not sure who I want to give this money to just yet.
I want to think it over.
But I want to take I'd love to get the tax deduction. Let's say I have the means to donate to a charity this year because I've had a good year. Our cash flow was good.
We've been fortunate. Yep, we've been very fortunate.
So, but I'm not sure who I want to give it to because I want to do some more research. I want to do my due diligence, and therefore I'm going to put it into this donor advised fund and take my tax deduction for this year, for the year I put it in, but I can give the money to any charity that I want anytime that I want.
That's right. That's right. And it grows while it's sitting in your donor advised fund.
That's right. So if it's invested and the market is favorable for you, then you bet it
you'll
can
have
grow
more money to give away. You'll
That's
have more
true.
money to give away. And the advent of these things has really made it convenient. And these are, if you're working with somebody, we've always talked about the benefits of working with a tax advisor. These are phone calls to your tax people, right? To say, hey, look, number one, I got to take my minimum required distribution. What should I ask, or what should I put down for my tax withholding? And then they'll tell you. And hey, while you're at it, I'm going to make some charitable contributions this year. Is there a number that works to my advantage? Because at some point, using John's example, if the government is going to give you a deduction for this, you may be giving away government money, right? You may be giving away money that you would normally pay in taxes.
That's right.
As a charitable contribution. So then it's almost free money. And obviously, we talked about it.
It's going
it's going to a good cause. It's going to go to a cause that lines up with what you want it to be. And you're able to, do well by doing good.
So, and here's the thing, and for those of you who have done this in the past and have listened to our show or watched our show in the past, you know that this time of year, if you're going to do it like in the next 2 weeks, because what's going to happen? The holidays are going to come. They're going to jump on your back. Worse, they're going to jump on your checkbook or your debit card. They're going to jump on your credit card.
You're out boozing it up at all these holiday parties. The last thing you want to do is get up and figure out whether or not you should do some charitable content.
Right.
I mean, you might be charitable at the bar and things like that. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
No, that's not tax deductible.
No.
Yeah. So when your bartender says, "Do you want a receipt for this?" You can say, "Yeah, I'll take the receipt all day."
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to deduct that from your tax.
No. Well, yeah, probably not. Depending.
Well,
Depends.
Depends if you're at the show tonight, right?
Depends on your tax advisor.
So our advice is do it now. Do it like right now. Start if you've been thinking about it and you're like hemming and hawing about it, and now's the time to do it. If you want to investigate or look at some of these potential charities that you feel like you would like to contribute to, now's the time to do it. Do your research and get that check in or get that direct deposit or your online contribution. But now is the time to do it. And then for you, it'll be before kind of that holiday rush hits.
Yeah.
It'll be before that your budget kind of starts to implode in on itself, and you're like, I thought we had more money, but we don't, and because we had to buy presents for your Uncle Jay and for or whoever. Not that Uncle Jay.
Well, donations to the Money and Law hosts who have given me all kinds of great advice and guidance this year. I mean, that's fine.
Uncle Jay he'll get something for Christmas.
Very generous
he'll
of you.
Get something.
Not coal. That's fine.
Not coal. So this is the time to do it. Now, there's you can go on like all different scales. You can look at. You're limited by your own imagination by the number of potential charities, like qualified charities that are out there. So as Jay kind of implied before, kind of go with your heart. Go with what means the most to you, because at the end of the day, you're giving them money, and although you get the benefit of the tax deduction, let's not make no mistake about it. It's costing you money to do this.
That's right.
So if I donate $100 and I'm in, like, let's say my tax I'm a 30% all in tax, that means I'm going to be able to deduct I'll get that $30 tax deduction. I'll save $30 on my tax deduction, but it's still going to cost me $70 to do this.
Well, we've talked about this a million times on the show. That's why we joked about this at the beginning of the segment in terms of being charitably inclined, right? I mean, I've never tried to talk somebody into making charitable deductions, right? You either do it because you want to do it or you don't do it. It's fine. There's no judging either way. I mean, some people do it, some people don't do it. Other people say, look, I'll do that later in life. You know, when I have, or other people say, look, I don't donate money, I donate time, right? So that's fine. Those things are all, you know, again, this is something that if you want to do it, you do it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. There are ways to do it. There are ways to make it easy to do it. And, you know, we've dedicated a couple of shows to this concept about, you know, how people want to approach this. It's up to you guys.
It's up to you. But if you are charitably inclined, and if you do want to and understand like kind of what the cost is and what your benefit is and what the tax and everything is, then by all means do it now. Because
yes, get it out of the way.
what you don't want to do is you don't want to, you know, in March or April, or hopefully not April, but in March you're going to your tax guy and you're saying, here's all my stuff, and then your tax person will say, well, you know, did you do any charitable deductions? You're like, well, no, I mean, I wanted to. I thought about it. Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, like the bag of clothes that you brought down to the bin.
Yeah.
It doesn't count, all right? I mean, it counts, but it doesn't count, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like something that's going to be really significant.
Yeah, you know, and again, those things, that's stuff that a lot of people would say, oh, well, those are my contributions. But we're talking really about sitting down and putting some numbers on a piece of paper and sending that off somewhere. There is one other thing, I'm not sure you were going to approach it, but that you need to get done by the end. There's only a couple of things that you need to get done by the end of the year. A lot of stuff is tax-based, you know, when your tax deadline is. But the other thing that you need to get done.
The fake passport?
No, not the passport. Not the passport.
The fake
no.
passport.
The fake passport.
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's a Cayman Islands thing. It's a whole other show. We'll do that show from those islands.
Yeah,
we actually are there. That's right. That's right.
Jay and Christian.
That's right. That's right. Hey, welcome everybody. Reaching out to you from the Isle of Man.
Yeah, streaming live on your Facebook.
Yep, one of the global international tax havens that people love to use. Right. If you are going to set up a self-employed 401k. That needs to be, not funded, mind you, but that needs to be set up by December 31st. So you can set it up, got to get the paperwork in, and then you'll fund it in April when you get your tax numbers from your tax person, and it'll be for this year, but that actual account itself, that needs to be set up by 12/31. Same thing. Don't call us when you're sitting at the computer at 12/31 and we're trying to tear it up on New Year's Eve and you're asking us questions and just
we're trying to tear it up on
set it up now. Guys, I can't. Guys, hold on. I can't hold my drink. I got to take this call.
He's like Ebenezer Scrooge and Bob Cratchit working on New Year's Eve. No, we're back.
Who is this? Who's asking me questions about their 401k at 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve?
This is a self-employed 401k, right? So let's not confuse this. So if you're in a company, you're like, you hear the word 401. So Kaharich, I know you have a 401k with your company.
All you players that are already in a 401k.
We're not talking about you, right? Like, oh my God, we got till December 31st.
This is a new plan. You're setting up a new plan for yourself because you've decided the SEP IRA wasn't getting it done anymore, whatever you decide, but you're doing the solo 401k.
You're a big hitter.
So do your thing. Get after it and do it.
Which brings up a great point. So in talking about 401k, so if you're involved in an employer-sponsored plan, a simple IRA or a 401k probably 403b, right? Those are the most common, right? So now you may say, well, yeah, you know what? I haven't maxed out 2019. If you're under the age of 50, you can put away $19,000 inside your 401k. This is where things get a little tricky, particularly this time of year. So let's say up to this point, you look on your pay stub and it says, I've contributed $10,000 to my 401k and I got 1 month till the end of the year. You're like, well, I have enough money. I mean, we have enough money. Can I write a check to the 401k company? Again, now this is you work for a company. Let's say you work for you work for Bank of America or some other company. I don't know anybody who works for Bank of America. We'll use them as an example.
Whatever, that's fine. Big firm.
So right now, you can't do that. You can't write a check to your 401k
because you've under contributed. That's right.
Yeah, you can't just like send them money because all of your contributions need to go through your payroll. They're accounted for through your payroll. Now, we've seen it in some cases where clients have been inside of 401ks and they've kind of they say, okay, look, I can dump a lot of money into my 401k for year end. Maybe your employer may be willing to adjust this for you, where if you call up your payroll department and say, okay, for my next paycheck, let's say my next paycheck's going to be $4,000.
Take out $9,000.
I want to put all 4,000 of it into my 401k and not get any net pay.
That is very plan firm specific.
Yeah, so it's going to be up to your company. So theoretically, it potentially could happen. If you're going to try and pull that off right now, I would call payroll today and say, is there a way I could do this? And they may have a system, they may have a rule or a program that says, look, yep, you can do it. We do this all the time. Here's what you have to do. Fill this out. Blah blah blah. Or they may say, nope, that's not how we do it. I mean,
but the bigger message is you've woefully under contributed to your 401k. So sit down. Do some math. Your firm probably has a website for you to go to for your benefits, and figure out what you need to tweak for next year so that you close the gap. Do you have to close the gap all the way? No. If your contribution limit's 19 and you put in 10, try to get to 13. Try to get to 12. Try to get to 15. You don't have to close it all at once, but close it. Close it and close it fast so you can really make some headway in terms of maxing that thing out, and it'll be less painful for you.
Yeah, and just like, any time it just comes out automatically, most people, like, they kind of fire and forget, and it's one of those things where it just goes on. I don't really notice it, so they're good to go. One of the things that people sometimes worry about too is, can I over-contribute to my 401k? So let's say I crank it up, and let's say I want to, I take Jay's advice, and like for 2020, I'm gonna put away
1,000,000%.
I'm gonna put away 20%, not quite 1,000,000, but I'm gonna put away 20% of my pay,
1,000,000%.
and that's gonna take me over $19,000 by, like, say, October. Do I have to worry about over-contributing? The answer is no, because you're a payroll company, and your 401k, your provider won't allow you to put more than what your maximum is in. If once you get to that maximum, then even though you're scheduled to put away 20% of your pay, they'll say, nope, we're not taking any of it.
You'll get a paycheck in September, let's say. All of a sudden, you say to yourself, why does this paycheck look bigger? I've done less work than I did the beginning of the year.
It means you've maxed out your 401k.
That's exactly what it means. Or it means that, and you've maxed out your contributions to Social Security, and then January there will be an automatic adjustment back down when you start putting your contributions away. And the other thing to keep in mind is your firm may be matching some portion of your contributions. You could be leaving some money on the table if you max out your 401k too early in the year. So there is a method to the madness in terms of filling out, making sure that your contributions, make it as far into the year. You want to kind of have those things end in December as best you can, because there may be some matching money that you leave on the table.
Jay, I have some paperwork for you, because I know you want to get your 401k done before year end here at Main Effort Financial. Just go ahead and sign right here. It's a blank form you to say.
That's kind of you to fill that out for me. That's nice of you.
Yeah, Sharon was able to do that. All right. So what have we learned? We have learned that if you are going to donate to charity, you need to do that before the 31st of December.
Well, let's back it up a little bit. Before Christmas time. Let's get it done before Christmas.
Right. And then and even more, almost as important, or who knows, if you're going to take a minimum required distribution, or if you're required minimum distribution, that needs to be done before December 31st.
And if you want to do one more thing too. In addition to your charitable giving, if you're making gifts to your family,
there you go. That's right. Gifting.
Let's get those out of the way now, right? Yep. I mean, I'm not saying you got to do it now, right? The second as in now, but let's get that out of the way before Christmas, okay? Because if you want to hand those checks out on Christmas, you hand them out and you say to everybody, go to the bank tomorrow, go to the bank the day after. Let's get these things deposited. Let's get this out of the account. Let's not run into the same exact story. I want to give my kid a check. It's Christmas Eve. I'm going over there tonight. When do they have to have it cashed by, right? Let's not worry about that. Let's not get into those situations. Let's get those checks written sooner rather than later. Your kids will appreciate that. You're welcome, kids. And let's do something with that. Let's not wait till the end of the year for that. Let's get that taken care of as well.
Okay. So before we wrap up, I'm going to give you an option. I'm going to give you a potential option if you want to donate to a charity. I'm going to give you a specific one.
Wow. This is
I'm going to give you a
specific. Can we do this? Is this even allowed?
Why not?
We'll find out.
We will find out.
We'll find out.
So, and this is primarily for the Holliston residents. However, the fund can affect the surrounding community and can be used for the surrounding community. So one of the this is a nonprofit that Jay was instrumental back in 2009 was when this first started, is the Holliston Community Action Fund. So we're in the middle of our annual giving drive. Yep, our annual giving drive. So if you want to donate to the Holliston Community Action Fund, we're a nonprofit. We provide emergency assistance grants to people in need in the town of Holliston and also in the greater community. Everything goes through the Department of Youth and Family Services, so it's strictly confidential. All grants, it's a way for people to get money quickly without going through a bunch of red tape. If they can't pay their electric bill, they've just come on some unfortunate luck and they need some money. That's what the Community Action Fund does. So you see on the bottom of your screen, hollistoncommunityaction.org. You can go there to donate if you are so inclined.
And how do they reach out to you through if they need assistance? They reach out through
the Department
of Youth and Family Services.
The Department of Youth and Family Services Director is Jackie Weiner. That number is also probably going to appear on your screen. I don't have her number, but if you know of anybody, contact the department that might fall into this category that needs some help. Contact the Department of Youth and Family Services, Jackie Weiner, and she will set up an appointment and talk to you and see if we can help.
It's a great grassroots giving organization that really does impact people locally and in many cases, and sometimes more importantly, quickly.
Yep.
And they're able to triage emergency situations, help people out. It's not a lifeline forever, but it's a bridge.
Yep.
It's a bridge to other benefits, other services that might be able to come in and solve
It'll get you out of the water.
That's right. Solve a problem a little longer term if that's what needs to happen. So,
okay. All right, so this is it. Let's go Holliston. Let's read up on Winchester.
Yeah, let's go Lady Panthers.
Let's
go. All the best for those guys. I wish them nothing but the best.
We'll see everybody next week on Money in the Law, my FM 101.3, WMRC,
First Class
Radio.
Hot Zone next week. It's holiday season.
That's right.
Hallmark Channel will have exploded with all of its Christmas stuff.
Jay is going to be in full Christmas. This year we're gonna get Ebenezer Scrooge. We're gonna soften him
Life
up this
is
year.
like one giant snow globe starting the minute your meal is done on Thanksgiving, maybe even a little sooner.
We will see everybody next week on Money in Law.
Have a great week.